Welcome back. Who do we have here? We have Super Dennis Blue right there behind you with the beautiful glasses and nice blue shirt. For those of you on YouTube, we
Unless
have
you're
a blast.
colorblind.
Yeah. Well, let's not call them out. They'll start seeing red. So we have a blast from the past today. One of I don't know the kind of memories this brings back to you, Dennis, but it might bring back fond memories or blind rage. I don't know. Louie and I used to be
Oh my gosh.
the two stooges, and yet also I think um, some of the people we were the two most fortunate people, I think, to come into the group right at the beginning of the 90s with all of the people still around. Sonny was still there, Bert and all that. And when's the last time you've seen Louis? He's probably more recent than me. Last time I saw him was at Bob's memorial service.
That was the last time I saw him.
Really?
Really?
So I hear Vito, he's saying that he's hanging out with Louis every weekend. What's going on?
Some people can afford to do that thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, if anyone's been connected with the Wednesday night group, then you know who Louie Berard is. Longtime friend. I would say one of the founders of the Wednesday night group. Obviously, Tim Tackett's the founder, but it wasn't called the Wednesday night group. That was a name.
Who found Tim? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he found it. The Wednesday night group became a sort of a thing. Louis was very much involved in actually getting the website going, I believe, and just having a presence on the internet, which became a big deal. And we'll talk. We'll get him on and we'll talk about some of this stuff. But the fun part is the fun parts were really all of the times that we got to do our Jeet Stooge Dough and all of that stuff. I've still not made the movie. Dennis, do you remember Jeet Stooge Dough?
Yeah, I remember the
karate, yes,
sequence.
We did everything to make sure Dennis felt alive, and I think I was. Louis can correct the story or add to it as when he's on here in a second, but I remember I was just there for a few months, and then Louis came and with a very, I think at the time, quite a heavy Massachusetts accent. I don't know if it's as strong anymore.
Yeah, his Worcester accent.
His Worcester, yeah.
And his potato.
His potatoes, yeah. You know, I heard this. Some of the Irish say that.
Yes, I try now.
They say potato.
That'd be correct then.
Well, one thing that's important, some news, is that for those of you listening to this right away, we are doing the last of the classes at Tim Tackett's house this coming Wednesday. The house is being sold, and unfortunately, that legendary location won't be available anymore. It still has all the gear, all the same heavy bags, everything from the early 90s, or actually before that. Same red heavy bag, same black smaller bag. It's the stretching thing that you'd pull on with the pulley that would yank you off your feet and you'd be swinging like all that's still there. But if you're able to make it, if you're in the local area or you want to jump on the Zoom, just contact us. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our longtime friend, Dennis. You give us an introduction of Louis. See, because I've already said how I sort of met him, but what do you? How do you
know? I met him with you.
Yeah, he got to go to your house before me.
Did he?
Yeah. So somehow I said, "Wait a minute." He goes, "Oh yeah, I've been training with Dennis." I said, "What? How did you get to go?" And so I went over, can I go too? And you're like, yeah.
Oh, wow. I do not remember that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was already sniffing out more training.
Uh-huh.
But without further ado, Louie Berard.
Hey, guys.
Hey, my friend.
Wow.
Hey, how are you, fellow stooge?
It's been a long time.
Oh my gosh, those were some fun days, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, it's crazy to think that 35 and some change years have gone by
Oh my
since.
word.
No,
Yeah, I
Did you
mean,
have
crazy,
to say that?
crazy, crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's like when a decade goes by, you're like, okay. I remember thinking, I've been in Jeet Kune Do for 10 years.
right.
You know, well, what's really crazy is that this has been a while now, but several years back, I was thinking about how long Sifu Tackett had been doing JKD when we started with him. So think about 1990 to 90 or
So,
91. You're
so
talking,
20 years or so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So around that, right? And here and I'm so when I remember hitting like the 25-year mark one day, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've been doing it JKD 5 years longer than Tim had been doing it when I met him. And now it's even more, of course, and of course he's still technically ahead.
And the terrible thing is now I'm older than Tim and Jim were when I first started going there, and only 2 years younger than Bob was. So I'm like, holy crap, I'm one of the old guys. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Well, and I was just mentioning to my family, I was talking about Bob Bremer, as you just mentioned, and I was like, I always thought he was such an old man, you know, but that's how you are when you're young.
To us, he looked like an
Yeah,
old
he
man.
had gray hair, so it's like, well, he must be. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got gray everywhere, and I'm like, wow, who's this old guy Tim Tackett's taken as a student? And I didn't realize he was the the legendary ass kicker of the Chinatown school.
Oh
And
my
yeah, he's
gosh.
he's Mr. Yeah, well, and I remember thinking, well, it's good he's still walking around. I think he wasn't even 60 yet. He might have. I don't remember how old he was.
I thought he was like 63 or
Was
around
he?
something
Okay,
like that.
but still
I could be
fairly.
wrong. Could be
That's not
wrong.
that old, okay?
It's not that old.
It's
How
not.
do you
It's
know?
not. Hey, today's 63 is, the 43 from decades ago.
Thank
So
you.
there
There
we
you go.
go.
It's all about lifting weights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and doing
Yep, I
backflips.
lift and then I wait.
So, I still, when we go up to Forest Falls, I'll still point out there's where Louie used to live to
Oh
my
yeah.
kids. Even though that wasn't your last location, it's the
Right.
one that stands out the most in my memory. But however, we were at Running Springs yesterday,
Oh, cool.
and we didn't quite. We went to the children's trail, or what, I forget what they call it, but it's right by the ranger station. And boy, you notice, I mean, I'm doing stair stepper when I go to the gym. I do legs, I'm doing the weights, and I do jump rope
It's
with the class.
different.
We haven't been in high altitude
Yep.
for a few years, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
We stopped at a quarter of a mile to sit down
Yeah.
and rest.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
But I was like, we didn't make it quite as far as your old road, but I was thinking, Jenny was saying, I think Louis was around here. And I said, yeah. But I'm like, I think we're going to go home and take a nap after this.
Huh, huh.
I'm not going to go up the road.
Nice.
So how's your son? How's Colgan?
He's doing great. He just went back to college last week. It'll be his senior year. So
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
I can't believe it. The time just flies. But
Nice.
he's doing great. He took after Carol. He's got the music genes.
Oh, there's
So
a,
he plays the French horn and the piano, but he writes music, and his one of his professors writes music for movies and TV, and that's what he wants to do. So I hope he does it. So he's
yeah,
he's he's really talented. So we'll see.
that
Sweet.
that's amazing. You got any
Yeah.
advice, Dennis, for writing music?
Yeah, he can do it.
Okay.
There we go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Yeah.
Well,
Does
as
Carol
I,
still play organ?
Oh
oh,
yeah,
oh yeah.
her dad bought her an actual like a church organ. I'm sitting about 10 feet from it right now, so she plays it all the time.
Man,
Oh my
Pretty,
goodness.
pretty cool.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I remember we went to the Redlands University to see her play. Uh,
Yeah.
one time, yeah, way back when.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it's good to have the musical genes. My family all had it. Skipped over me, I guess. I can sing a little bit,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
same here.
I put
I've
my,
got a
well, I put,
modicum of talent. That's about it.
well, I mean, yeah, yeah. I remember you played guitar, but I think we put our attention into martial arts, and like my brother, who got in
Yeah.
a lot more fights than me,
Hmm.
he's the one that actually got into the music and and has always been very good at guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. He
And
was real good from
yeah,
what I remember. Yeah. Absolutely.
but anyway, but yeah. So I kind of gave it just a little bit of a beginning, but you know, for people that don't know, not only did Louie and I start around the same time at Tim Tackett's. We actually lived together for about a year where
Mhm.
we did our Shaolin like training. I used to say one of the things, and you know what? Dennis would pop by and just see, no, this is real. This is a real insane asylum here. It was crazy, but you know when we were talking to Vic in the previous episode, I was like, some of the things that I miss from the students, and you know, and I'm not saying all my students are like this. We have some that are very dedicated, but there's a difference in the love of training. And I remember thinking, like when you and I were training, I think you and I both had this idea that if the other one ever asked, like, "Hey, do you want to put the gloves on, or do you want to go grab the collie sticks or whatever?" We would try not to say no, even if we were
Right.
tired. Like
Oh
that was
yeah.
something I think we even discussed. Like 'cause we're living. Let's try to make the most of it. And like sometimes I would be tired. You're like, "Hey, do you want to grab the collie sticks?" And I'd be like, yes. And we go out and the outside. And then, of course, didn't realize, you know, when you're young, you don't really think about the fact that you're clacking sticks together at 10 o'clock at night next to
Right.
all kinds of neighbors. It-
Remember our meth fueled neighbor there that went crazy one day,
oh, yeah.
threatened
Yeah.
to kill us because we kept kicking the bag.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, if you don't stop kicking that bag, you're going to have to kick me. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
And Louis,
What was that guy's name? He
oh
turned out to
man,
be an okay guy,
once the
actually, but
meth wore off or the
it was,
coke or whatever it was. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it was funny because Louis being the college graduate, you know, and everything at the time, that was the first time I ever heard the word belligerent. Louis says, "You don't have to be so belligerent," and I'm like, "Oh, I like that word. That's a good word. I'm going to use that." But yeah, and then we had people on the other side, I think, that were kind of using the crack, and
Oh yeah, yeah. I think there was a lady of an evening that lived over there.
yeah, our roommate let her use the shower one time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim.
Good old
With
Jim.
Jim, with Jim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where do we get people like him? I mean, where do they come from?
He's a character.
Mass.
Yeah, Mass, right?
It's
You
Uh,
get all kinds of weirdos from that state. I tell you what, those
Jeez.
guys parked the car. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
back the guy. Yeah. You driving a motorcycle anymore?
Oh, no way. Dude,
Me
I
either.
drove a motorcycle on and off for 10 years and I never got injured. And I think I used up all my motorcycle lives. There's no way I would
Wow.
ride one. People are
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
After that one that I left up at your house, I never owned one. I mean, I kind of miss it, but I
yeah,
don't, but I guess people have missed me enough that I think I've used mine too.
yeah, it's just doesn't matter how safe you are, you can still get
Yeah.
steamrolled by a car.
Hmm.
So,
well, the old adage is, remember, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter
right,
of when.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, well, you know, I'm not the slowest driver in the world. I'm going coming home. I was going close to 80, kind of with
yep.
the flow of traffic. And this guy goes gunning past me, switching lanes, this and that, and he passed me like I was standing still.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if there's a motorcyclist there, anyways.
Well, what gets me is you see those bumper stickers. Look both, look three times for a motorcyclist or whatever. And I'm like, every single motorcycle I see driving almost is doing something crazy, or they're
Yeah.
driving too close, or they're cutting lanes. And I'm like, why do I have to look out for them? They're driving like
Hmm.
maniacs.
Somewhere along the line, motorcyclists have gotten the idea, and I like bikers, don't get me wrong, but
Oh yeah.
that there is a law that you have to move out of the way for them. That's not the law.
Right.
They are allowed to split lanes,
Split
but
lanes, yeah.
they get angry if the cars are not over far enough. And I've seen people kick cars as they go by and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, don't get the bigger vehicle
Yeah,
angry at
they're
you.
pretty brave. All it takes is one little turn of the wheel and that dude's done, you know.
Yeah.
They don't let them split lanes up here, but more and more people are doing it. I think we got more and more Californians moving up here and they're just going crazy.
That's always the reason for everything, right? It's the
Blame
California.
Californians,
California.
man, we blame them for everything.
There's a reason for that.
Well,
No,
well,
actually, I got to tell you the truth. I prefer California crazy driving to the way Idahoans drive. It's like the opposite. Slow, illogical, frustrating. Yeah, I've got a list of about 24 things they do up here that makes my head explode like every day, but
send
I'm
us
like,
send us send us that list in an
I
email.
will, I will,
In an
I
email.
will. You could do a top 24 list.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
It's an idea.
Well, getting onto the martial arts subject,
Ah,
I would like to just give you the opportunity to just give us your background. I know that you didn't
sure.
start in JKD, and from what I remember, you had
No,
Pi Lum was that your first. I'm giving just kind of give
I
us
love 'em.
what drew you to the whole thing.
Well, I kind of came from a scrappy background. So as a kid, I actually, just because of my household being crazy and my neighborhood was kind of that scrappy blue collar kind of thing. And back in the 60s and 70s, people had a lot of kids. So there were a lot of fights, and I was always in a fight, like once a week.
Just for the record, Louis, where are
Yeah.
you from?
Worcester, Mass.
There you go.
Worcester. So, it was pretty scrappy. The older I got, the less I got into fights. As the frontal lobe takes over, you kind of control yourself. So,
Exactly.
I was like, you know what? I really don't want to, fight if I don't have to. But so it was about 22 or 23. I started taking Pilum Gung Fu and did that for about 3 years. And one of the guys that took it, this guy Jim McNamara, was going to school at University of Redlands, and I had about run my limit with being in Worcester. I was drinking a lot and having close calls with the law, just being a drunken, I don't know, young dude. And I was like, yeah, I probably should move. So I'm gonna end up in jail one of these nights for doing something stupid. So I moved out and lived with Jim, and Jim uh, came home one day and he said, "Hey, I found this garage with these old guys and Bruce Lee students, and they were doing this kind of slap blocking or something." He was talking about trapping.
Mhm.
I know in retrospect, he was trying to explain it, and I didn't quite get it. And I said, "Oh, Bruce Lee students, huh?" I said, "Do you think it's any good?" He's like, "Yeah, it look pretty good." So I called Tim, and he said I could go up there, and that first night I met Jeremy, and we were chatting, and yeah, the rest is history. And I just fell in love with it, and just kind of blew my mind. The stuff that they were teaching was really effective. I hadn't really been trained in like real effective fighting before, so the kung fu was kind of lame. It was better than nothing, but this was
Yeah.
like this was good. I was like, holy crap, this
What
stuff
what
works.
what was so amazing too is that we Bob and Tim and Dennis were all always already you get the focus on how important sparring is. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was living this is before you and I started renting a house together. I was living at my mom's house going to school at Crafton College here. And you said, "Hey, we should get together and train and do some sparring." And I said, "Oh yeah, let's do it." And it's so funny to look back on that because you came over to
Oh
my
yeah,
mom's house,
I
and I
remember that.
remember I'm doing mostly Taekwondo, I think,
Yeah,
and trying to throw Pak Sao Da, Pak Sao's in there over and over again, and wherever I could. I'd seen Enter the Dragon enough, and you try to use a hook kick and it's something here and there, but it's so funny how the evolution happens,
right.
right? I mean, it's like
I
I
was
don't know,
I was terrible. I didn't know anything. I was just trying to close the gap on you,
yeah,
and
and I'm
and I
dead.
had no idea what I was gonna do if I did. It's like, what am I doing?
Right. And that's the thing. It's like and then I'm much more likely to get close now than back in the day. But you remember from the Taekwondo training, I was always trying to stay far away so I could throw my
Yeah,
kicks. But
yeah,
it's so interesting how we evolve, and um, some of the drills that Dennis forced us to do when we were training for the ring and things like that, like really helped me. Like I never wanted to throw my rear straight. I got so focused on the closest hand,
yeah.
that which is good, the closest foot, closest hand, and all that, that I didn't really feel comfortable throwing my rear. So he ended up having us do rear straight or cross sparring.
Yeah,
All you could do is throw a cross. And
yeah.
I bury my head, and it was effective. But back it up. The one of the things that I think is so interesting about what your story uh, is that how a lot of times it'll be a person shows up and they go, "Hey, this is really cool," and they tell somebody else, but they don't stay.
I
They-
know.
Right? They don't keep training. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember Eric Allen. He was a drummer, one of my early
Yeah,
students.
Eric, big tall guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my second Eric student, right?
yeah.
Uh, he he told me multiple times he had a friend from high school said, "Oh, this is amazing." I don't even know who he's talking about. This guy came to one of my classes and then told his friend about it, and then didn't even meet him at the. He goes, "Yeah, here's the address." Didn't meet him at my house and never showed up again. Never.
Oh wow,
But Eric
wow.
Allen became a longtime student until he kind of messed his
Yeah,
knees up. But
he got good. He got good with his boxing too.
yeah, he was up
Yeah.
at Berkeley doing on the boxing team there for a little bit.
Oh wow, at
Uh,
Berkeley.
yeah, yeah, and
Wow,
just
smart
use
guy.
just use the JKD stuff. They try to make him go left lead, but he just
Yeah,
went back to right lead.
good for him.
Dennis,
That's cool.
so I don't know. They told him, Dennis, that it's against the law or the law. It's against the rules in boxing to shove. Because what happened was
Yeah,
he would hit him with his gloves and then start
yeah,
punching. And I don't know if
yeah.
that's just
It technically is, but it depends on the ref. If he's going to call it. I mean, if
I
it's totally blatant where you're just shoving the guy across the ring, yeah. But I mean, if
yeah.
it's a little pop or something, they probably won't even notice it.
I said shove with your fists.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right, go ahead, use your face then.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
at the gym, he before he moved out there, he was in Santa Monica, and one of the Klitschko's was training there. I mean, I'm just
No
telling you that
kidding.
because they were there.
Oh,
He didn't work with him, but he was telling me that they were he would use the JKD cut over the lead hand really effectively.
yeah.
The right to left training
Yeah.
and because he wasn't at the time he wasn't really going anywhere, so they said the trainers were like getting frustrated that their fighters were getting nailed with this. And
Right.
and so yeah, they were like so they started working on something. For the people that aren't listening to this on YouTube, you have to sort of imagine, but what they started doing is they started having him like do a downward cuff or a like what we would call a jut almost, but they would slap down on his hand and then try to throw a quick hook off of that. And
Okay.
and they were trying to keep him from cutting. So they said,
Yeah.
don't punch first, pop down on his lead hand, and then quickly throw your hook over. And
That,
he got tapped a few times.
that might be something that we would do. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, and actually, it was while he was punching. As soon as he punched, they would cuff and then hook.
Yeah.
So he came
That's
back
pretty
and says, "Well,
smart.
they're getting me with this. What do I do?" And I said, and Tackett had been talking.
Paint.
Yeah, Tackett had been talking about in Bruce's notes the capital O, capital N, capital E, 1, 2 compared to the 1, 2,
Oh yeah.
the delayed hit. Remember?
Right.
So I teaching him the delayed hit where he would just start slow down, not faint, not fake, but he would start slow down and then accelerate again. And sure enough, their hand went sailing past his punch, and he would nail them in the face. And I think it was causing a little bit of frustration, at least for a little bit. I'm sure they adapted after a while.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of fun to hear those old stories. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, to bring you in, we had somebody that came by, saw it. Another guy told one of our students, I love it. You had the description, slapping, they were slapping something. And
Slap blocking is what
slap,
Jim called it.
yeah. So the city attorney, rest his soul, Dan McHugh, who is a student of ours for years, he city attorney for Redlands, he said to me, yeah, I met somebody. He said, "Oh, you got to go check this class out. These guys are crazy. They're jumping off tables." And I just remember that because my students and I, Danny Burke and some of the other students, we laughed so hard. And Danny used to bring that up. Are you guys jumping off tables tonight? He'd send me a text before class. I'm thinking,
Oh, is
what?
that like plyometrics or something?
I don't know where they got the idea that, I'm thinking Dennis must have been running the class.
What does that mean?
We're jumping off anything. It was probably you. But I'm sitting there like, jumping off tables. Who does that?
Uh,
But anyway, so
That was probably either I don't know if I should say his name. Hollywood or who was that other guy that Bruce dude used to show up?
oh,
Guy from
oh, that
Mentone.
guy? Oh
The
my
guy-
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that guy. Wow, yeah, he was there when I first got there. We first got
Yep.
there. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was interesting.
yeah. Yeah, I remember, was it your first night that you got to spar with our good friend Mike Affitati?
I was just thinking about that.
Wow.
So, and we were doing a drill. It was like lead hand only or something. And he threw us a rear hand and hit me, and I'm like, and gave me a bloody nose. And I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, and for the rest of the night, I was trying to line up with him so I could get him back, and he kept avoiding me. I was so mad. I never did get to get him back.
No, I remember that. You told me that too. You're like, I've been trying for a while.
Right. But
Good time.
he's an all right guy. He just didn't do the drill, darn it.
I know.
That describes a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I
mentioned
should,
one
I mean, I was new, so I wasn't used to having my hands up and I didn't have a good reaction. So, yeah, ultimately it's my fault, but
Yeah. It's yeah, you always tell your students like, well, yeah, do the drill correctly, but yeah, you should have had your hands up.
right.
Even
Yeah.
getting kicked in the groin. So you had, I remember we used to talk about our traditional, until we had history in JKD, we had to talk about our traditional stuff because that was our history, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I came from the Junri spectrum, the family of Taekwondo.
Yep.
And then you had the Pilum and everything. And we had some crazy stories, but did you ever find that you ever used, before you got into the JKD stuff, that you ever used any of the Kung Fu at all? And
The only thing I used was one time this big dude got mad at me and kind of charged me, and I did a rear straight kick right into his gut and knocked him back. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, "You kicked me," and I was like, "Yeah," and he walked away. So that's the only time I ever used it. So it did work. It wasn't the greatest art, but it gave me something.
That's right. Like
You
Shoda,
kicked me. Well, yeah.
yeah. You had some interesting run-ins with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me tell you something about JKD training. I had an experience a couple weeks ago, and I'll tell you about how ingrained the straight blast is with me. It is like my go-to thing to this day. My kids and I went to this canyon called Jump Creek, and it's this beautiful hike through this narrow canyon with huge rocky cliffs, and at the end there's a little pond and a waterfall. Really beautiful place. So we get to the parking lot, we get out of the car. I start walking up the path. My daughter's behind me, my son's in front of me, I think. And all of a sudden I hear my daughter, Casamara, scream. And so in my mind, I'm thinking there's a snake. I turn around and there's a pigeon hovering like about a foot and a half in front of me and right in front of her. And before I could do anything, she screams and takes off running, and the pigeon chases her and it's flying after her. She runs to the parking lot, doubles back, and at that point, me and Colgan were laughing. I have to admit. She finally came back, and then the pigeon started coming at me, and I just immediately started straight blasting. But this pigeon was a master of distance because I was touching his feathers, but he was keeping the perfect distance, so I really wasn't hitting him. And finally, I just grabbed my ball cap and smacked him, and he flew off.
Wow, what a psycho bird.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
Wow.
crazy.
So we get back. We had met some people up at the falls and they left before us. We came back. They're out in the parking lot and the pigeon's sitting on their truck. And I'm like, is that your pigeon? The guy's like, no, the pigeon's on my truck and won't leave. When we first got here, the pigeon was on some girl's head and she just walked down the trail with it. So I'm like, well, maybe the pigeon was just trying to be friends. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing
I want to
ever.
land on your head.
Yeah, right. That's probably just wanted to hang out. I don't know.
Huh.
But that my first response was a straight blast. I was like,
It's like, nope, 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 nope.
he was good though. Master of distance.
Oh man. Well, if we only had wings and feathers, huh?
Yeah, right.
Instead of sore knees.
Yeah, no kidding.
Uh,
Yeah.
So, I've been at that age for a while where I finally joined the club, where I remember, Louis, your JKD started to evolve. I don't want to say early on, but you were always good at kicking. You're always a great kicker. When we got into Thai boxing and the JKD kicks and all that were always very powerful. But I remember your knees were bothering you and you started to change your focus a bit and do
Yeah.
boxing and grappling stuff and things like that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I've not only had some injuries and I've done some stunts and things like that, but yeah, I don't have any cartilage on on the medial side of my left
Ooh,
knee, and
ouch.
got hip problems. I'm trying to deal with it and all that, but it's like, yeah, like come on, man. I remember kind of laughing that stuff off and going, yeah, it's just pain, you know.
Right?
It's just
Yeah, when you're young, you can recover, but
yeah.
eventually your body just says that's enough.
Have you gotten any knee replacements or anything?
Oh no, I kind of fell off the cliff in my late 40s, early 50s. I started having massive foot problems first, and
Oh,
then I had a major back injury, like herniated disc and stuff, and then I had like
jeez.
torn meniscus and torn um, ligaments in both my knees. But fortunately, my insurance was not that good.
No.
So I was able to get like an x-ray for my back and get some oxycodone and stuff. But then I just got on YouTube and I looked at 100 different physical therapy videos and I basically fixed myself.
Oh, cool.
And I just said, I'm going to heal my knees and they're way better now. And that was like my knee issues was like 6 or 7 years ago. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
dude, I mean, Dennis is the pro and all this stuff, but I mean, I've been doing the same in that I'm going and finding YouTube. My son Aiden is getting you videos and looking at, and I've gone through
mhm.
some physical therapy myself, but it's really true. I mean, I've been avoiding, and I know that a lot of people do like knee replacements. Vince Ramundi has had his knee replaced and he loves it.
Oh my God.
I'm just trying to avoid it as long as I can. And the weights and everything have at least been able to keep me going, lifting weights and things. I mean, I jump rope.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Dennis, am I going down a dark path here? Am I gonna have to get my knee replaced or is there hope?
There.
That says it all.
Well, there's a guy on the internet. I'm not. I think he might be a chiropractor or a physician of some kind. But he says the studies do show now that you can regrow your cartilage, but it has to be like it's very slow stationary bicycling for about 10 minutes per
Wow.
day, and then you need not to stress your knee out really bad.
Mm,
But
look at that.
so I mean, you could probably do it. You just have to be patient. But
absolutely. Yep.
Have you seen it, Dennis? Cartilage kind of coming back?
I've seen it myself with my own eyes. But yeah, because like even with the osteopathy and stuff, I mean, there's always other avenues other than going directly into surgery, unless, like I have some patients who are just like there's absolutely as much as I would like to tell them, if you continue to exercise, if you continue to do nutrients and this stuff, you'll be okay. But there's some
Mhm.
people they wait until, it's just like complete, you know,
Failure, yeah,
fusion of
bone
the
to bone, and
discs,
oh, ugh.
and it's like there's nothing that you can do from this point. You only have the option now of having some kind of surgery or
Intervention.
having a replacement done.
Oof.
Mm.
So
Like I've been having extreme. I don't sound like an old man and list off all my bad things going on here, but I've got dandruff. No, uh, but no, my hip has been hurting me really bad. I've been being treated by a spine specialist for years, and he's always said, "I think it's your spine. It's your spine." And that's like, well, I think there's two things going on here because they were injecting directly into my spine before a steroid, and my lower back would feel better, but my hip never did. And this last visit, this last week, he finally seemed to agree with me. Yeah, there might be. We're going to get another MRI because they never really looked at the hip.
Yeah.
But even then, I do think there's a problem with the hip. But doing all of these extremely painful, slow exercises and stretches, I went from only being able to side kick slowly out at knee height
Mhm.
to being
Yep.
able to get out to like chest height. Like I still can't kick
Nice.
the head, but I mean, my hip would just lock, and then I'd be in pain all
So
night long.
let me tell you something that happened to me recently. I had right hip pain for the last 3 or 4 months. And I'm in contact with Sean King quite a bit. We share information.
Oh,
So
cool.
he sent me, there's a strength group called Starting Strength, but there's a physician in Michigan that has one of their gyms, and it's called Gray Steel, Greysteel.
Okay.
And he's all geriatric patients, all older people, and he has them doing these squats, deadlifts, bench presses, and power cleans, basically. But
Wow.
the form is perfect, and that's the key thing. But they're having miraculous results in like healing all these injuries. So I've been doing it for about a month or 5 weeks, and after about 10 days, my hip pain was totally gone. It's totally gone. My
Dude.
and my knees feel great. And so I think a lot of it is just strength related around the joints.
yeah, because you have to
So
restabilize the joint with the
yeah,
by increasing the blood flow and putting the pressure on the bone and on those ligaments strengthens that, stabilizes it. Once it starts to stabilize, if you guys remember the old song, the hip bone connected to the blah blah blah,
uh-huh.
and that's the way it works. So generally, like if you have
Yeah,
a knee problem, it could have either started at the hip or at the ankle, and your body
Mm.
had to make
absolutely.
all those adjustments all those years, but
Yep.
you've never corrected it. So now you have, like Bruce would say, you have this unnatural naturalness. So you're walking with that limp and everything because you've trained your body to get used to that. And then when
Yeah.
you try to go back to the natural alignment, that's when you're feeling the pain. So when you
Mm.
talked about this guy speaking to, you know, perfect form, I mean, proper mechanics or improper mechanics is probably what most people have put themselves into injury in the first place.
Mm.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
something
And
too quick, under load with the wrong biomechanics, I mean, that can cause a lot of, it's just like, sometimes you can throw your back out when you sneeze. Well, you're in the wrong position when that happens. Diaphragm expands quickly and your spine is in the wrong position. I mean, next thing you know, oh, your back is out. So same kind of idea.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you noticed?
So Sean King sent me the PDF of his book, but I watched all his free videos online. I watch a lot of the Gray Steel ones.
Grace.
Man, I highly recommend it. I've been telling all my patients about it. I mean, everything that I do in life right now is easier because I've been doing this. Everything. It's crazy.
Louis,
It's really weird.
you said patience. What is it you do?
I'm a nurse.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't
Yeah, I've
even
been a
know.
nurse
I might
for
have known.
14 years. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's
Yeah. It's the
so
longest profession I've ever had.
wow. Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter Ariel's a nurse.
Oh, is she?
She's in
Good.
they're in Minnesota.
Oh,
Um,
wow. How old
yeah,
is she now? My gosh.
late 20s.
Okay.
Brittany's 30, I believe.
Uh-huh.
94, no, 94. So yeah, 30, she'll be 31. And yeah, I know, Dennis, don't think about it. But she's at the Mayo Clinic.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
her husband's a PT or RT.
Okay. Respiratory
Yeah.
therapist.
And
Nice.
so, but I think she wants to be a professor. But anyway, that I'm really glad you mentioned that. Which you said it's s- steel
Gray Steel
gray steel.
or
Okay.
Starting Strength is the organization. This physician in Michigan has one of their gyms, but it's geared to geriatric patients.
Mm,
It's
okay.
the same information, but it's called Gray Steel. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I could have Sean King send you the PDF.
Sure. He's got my number. He's
Yeah,
got my
absolutely.
number. Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, this is all completely related to, to the JKD life because,
Yep.
think about it. Bruce Lee had a significant injury,
Absolutely.
but I mean, but we lost him at 32. I mean, he never even
Mhm.
got to the point where you start losing testosterone and growth hormone and stuff at a high level,
Mhm.
at least. I mean, I know past 30 there is a diminishing,
Right.
um, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure though that he would have sought every way possible, just seeing who the kind of person he was and the way he wrote and the way he trained, that he would have gone after every possible way to keep his body honed and
Yeah.
healthy.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd say he would. That's kind of one of the unsung pieces of a role model that he was because he was very healthy with nutrition and he
Yeah,
worked out and people kind of forget that. They just think of the
yeah,
movies it was martial arts, but he was really into, health.
yeah. I think he was the first martial artist to really apply weightlifting and other things outside of just repetitious martial arts. Um,
Absolutely.
but the good thing is I'm already seeing results, but I can't wait to look at the gray steel stuff. Aiden looked up some hip strengthening exercises where you're on your shoulders and you walk your heels out from your body and then go back, and it's like it was weird because I do so much weightlifting and I was like it made me sore for
Yeah.
like 2 days.
I did all the hip exercises the last 3 or 4 months. It didn't really do much. But as soon as I started doing this stuff, I mean, it's literally completely gone. It's crazy. And
Do
I
you need a
have my,
barbell?
yeah,
You work with a
barbell, yeah,
barbell. Okay.
barbell, yeah.
So I go
So,
to a gym. I'll just have to go over there, but Jenny's going to the gym with me. My wife, we train
oh yeah,
together, so we mostly
cool.
just use the circuit machine and stuff,
Yep.
but and the stair stepper and all that. But I'll sneak over to the free
But
weights area.
but I'm leaving my ego out because I used to lift super heavy.
Yeah.
Like like I actually had some pretty good lifts, but I was never trained, so my form was terrible, and I
Mm.
probably hurt myself.
Mm.
But now I'm trying to be perfect with my technique, and I'm not lifting. I'm going very slow progression with my weights because I
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah. That's this is the thing that's hard to pass on to the students. Dennis and I were talking about in the last episode how there's a difference in the mindset of the younger generation. It seems, at least with some of
Yep.
them, and some of them you can't get them to train hard, and they're like, "Oh, it hurts. I'm sore," and then others don't tell you when they're injured,
Yeah.
and or they don't think about it. They're like, "Oh, well, it hurt yesterday. I'll just go full force today." That happened in class today with our with our special student Dennis. Um, he went and threw it hardest hook he could, and he said, "Well, my wrist has been injured before this, and it's really really bothering him." So I DMSO'd it up and
Nice.
some Olbus oil and things like that
Yeah.
to give him some relief. But it's it's like the it's weird. There's a lot of like for us, we read Bruce Lee's writings, we studied, we looked into things. I think martial arts is becoming more like a gym membership. It's like, okay, I better go to class, boom,
Well,
and then you go on to whatever else.
yeah. And I got a couple thoughts about that. I came from a background where I was, a pretty high level runner for high school and stuff, and I was played basketball all the time. I was an athlete, so I had conditioning and toughness, but I also had injuries, and I knew I had already had a history of knowing what injuries I could keep training with and what injuries I needed to rest. And so when I got into martial arts, I already had that understanding of my body. And I think it's almost better when people come from an athletic background. They already have the work ethic. They're already know how to work out hard. They already understand their body. If they're just soft sedentary people and then they start martial arts, well, I don't know. you know,
Mm.
do they have the mindset to? I mean, it's fine that they're doing it, but you're just gonna not gonna get the ultimate product, I
Yeah, well,
suppose.
the downside, well, not necessarily the downside to that, but another aspect of that is you have those parents, because I say when I see patients, you know, you have these parents that are living vicariously through their kids because they
Mm,
failed to be good athletes because first of all they didn't have the genetics for it, and when they were young they kept injuring themselves, so now they're pushing their kids even harder. Like
right.
like for example, I have this one kid who's a baseball player, and you know the guy's injured,
Uh,
right? But once his dad found out, well, it's just a minor sprain, he says, oh, so you can go back to full training then. It's like, no, he pulled a muscle in
yeah.
his back that's affecting his lumbar. So no, he should rest. Well, if it's just a sprain, it's okay. He can still continue training.
Your
Just the
body's telling
strain.
your body's telling you something.
Yeah. Sheesh. Well,
And
now it's
on
going to
top,
be a tear if he keeps working out.
that's what I kept telling them. And then the other part on top of that is the fact that I guess, so what is your diet like?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my favorite thing is like all the stuff you shouldn't eat. Well, I like
Cheese balls.
pizza and I like burritos and French fries, and I'm
Uh,
like,
French
okay,
fried
these are
burritos.
all the things that are really good for professional athletes, right?
Hmm.
yeah.
It's like you
All the
actually want to
seed
become a,
oils, all the preservatives, all the
yeah,
dyes, all
right?
that
Yeah.
stuff, processed foods.
And
Now
they
you're
don't
getting deep in there. Yeah.
they just don't
Yeah.
get it. They just don't get it.
But yeah.
Yeah. You know what? So for I've been doing home health for 8 years and I love it.
Awesome.
And I I used to tell almost every single one of my patients that they could fix almost everything that's wrong with them because 99% of the people it's what they're eating or
Absolutely.
smoking or both.
Right.
And they get diabetes or high blood sugar and then it cascades into heart
Mm,
disease or this or that and they have
correct.
edema and yada yada yada. So I
Yep.
said that you could fix everything. You're still young enough.
Hmm.
Not one single person, so I've probably at least said it to hundreds of people, has changed their diet. It's so hard for people to get away from their comfort. I go to
Yeah.
diabetes, people with diabetes, they've got a bowl full of candy sitting
Yep.
there. And
Yep.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, I
They're
can
like,
take I can
oh,
take my metformin after this. I'm
yeah,
okay.
Oh.
I know. That's what,
Oh.
seriously. Well, I take insulin.
Right.
I'm like, good God. And I don't want to be like that.
No.
This is a warning to me. And that's
Right.
why I've really gotten good at my diet and working out. I'm like, I'm not going to be that.
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Yeah, my
Yeah.
mother-in-law was at her doctor's and he told her, you gotta you watching your sugar? She says, I take my medicine. And he said, no, I'm
No,
not
are you
asking it. And my wife said we were sort of laughing, but it was like her mother was quite irritated because the
right?
doctor is like, she's like, I'm taking the medication. He's like, I'm asking you if you're watching your sugar intake. And well, of
Yeah,
course, what the answer is. But the body is it's an amazing thing. I read something one time, and I think it was written in the 1800s. But this person was talking about health, and they said, in most cases, the body can heal from anything if it's given what it needs,
absolutely.
right? And
And yeah.
that's
Yep.
and then I bought into all the well, except for cartilage you'll never heal, or brain cells can't, whatever, there's
And it turns out now that you can regenerate brain cells, they
Oh,
found, it's
right.
absolutely.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
go through the neurology seminars, conventions every year, and all the stuff that they're finding now is just unbelievable. You
You
know.
guys know who Joe Namath is, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the guy
Yeah,
down the street. Yeah.
he had CTE, really gotten to get dementia and
Yeah.
everything. So he went and did hyperbaric therapy for I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how long. Now he's 100% fine.
Yep.
Dude, I'm gonna
Yeah,
send my mom.
he fixed himself. It's
Yep.
crazy. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. And oxygen is always the key, but for like, well, for a lot of the causal, thing,
Oh
the
yeah. It's diet.
Yeah. You're
yeah.
starving your
Diet,
cells.
dude.
Well,
Well,
you
and you know what? And even if you want to eat right here, I had this conversation with Sean Goodner. I'll tell you a little story about him. You know what? Pray for that guy because he's having a really tough time right now.
Mm.
okay.
Um, but it our food here in America, of course, RFK is making a splash is just horrible.
Mhm.
Even if
We
you're
have food. We have
eating,
food.
yeah, but it's so he married this woman from Colombia and he went to Colombia for a month and he said, I just, all the food was fresh. There's no processed food. He said everybody was skinny, even the cows were skinny. But he said I drank like a fish for a month. I ate whatever I want and I lost 15 pounds without even trying.
Mm.
And
Wow.
it's the food.
Absolutely.
And he's like, our food is crap. I'm like, yeah, man, because
Mhm.
he's like me, tries to eat right, and it's hard to lose weight. It's like, what the heck?
Well, man, we're a profit-driven market.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make the chickens bigger and fatter by giving them this.
It's
Yeah.
Not
gross.
taking into consideration that, like when you have the grains and stuff that are sprayed with glyphosate, that those little
Ugh.
bugs, what that glyphosate does, it doesn't kill them. It keeps them from being able to digest what they have, so they die from starvation because they can't digest what they have. So if
Yeah.
they're taking microscopic bites of that stuff, we're taking massive amounts and spoonfuls and platefuls of that stuff,
Ugh.
and people wonder why they have digestive issues.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad.
I was just
Yeah.
talking to my. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say one of the nice things about where I live now is Carol and my father-in-law have a huge garden.
Mm.
So all summer long and for a few months with our frozen vegetables, we have completely organic, no pesticide vegetables. It's,
Lucky. I've been.
yeah,
I'm trying. I'm doing tomato. I have watermelon growing right now, and
oh nice.
actually some long ones that are starting. They're not long yet, but they're about a foot long. Some of them.
Right.
But I'm trying to get more growing. I'm trying to use. I tore up my lawn. I'm trying to use that front
Yeah, so
area
I was
more.
going to ask, where are you growing that? What part of your yard?
Yeah, it's the front. Have you seen the house? You saw it with all of the
Yes,
sunflowers,
the
right?
sunflowers,
We have
yeah.
a sunflower forest in the front. The birds planted it. I had a little
Wow.
area, they scattered it, and I tore up the grass, but even then, all of these plants came up, and I recognized them as baby plants that they were
Hmm.
sunflowers. So I let them grow up, and then I just cut paths through them, put wood chips, and the birds and all the different little critters and love these things. There's so many birds and everything. But I was going to say that, I was just telling my wife, I was like, we haven't made bread for the longest time. I would love
Hmm.
to actually make some bread because, we
Yeah.
only buy multigrain or whatever.
Ezekiel. That's what yeah,
Well,
that's
Ezekiel, in fact, I'm going to start doing that. But we
yeah.
only buy multigrain, but we've not been, I've been just buying the store stuff,
Yeah.
and there's just a difference in flavor.
Oh yeah.
You know it. It's
Yeah.
like this
Well,
doesn't taste
another
like
thing you can
bread.
do is you can actually buy heritage and heirloom um,
Grain?
grains,
See? Yeah.
right?
Nice.
Or one thing that I do once in a while, like I like to bake during the fall, is I actually get the flour and stuff from Europe.
I was just gonna say Italian flour.
Yep.
'Cause they eat pasta and they're thin, and and I read an article, it's their flour.
Hmm.
It's just better
Really?
than ours,
Yeah,
It's
I
something
don't know
different
that.
about it.
Well, they don't put the crap in the soil and they don't spray the crops the way we do.
Yeah,
I mean, it goes
yeah,
back to that again.
Yep. It's just
yep,
insanity. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, but yeah, you're
Which
right.
is why I can kick so well. I just
Exactly.
I just had to throw that in there because
Yeah,
we're all over.
yeah.
I kick, I
Um,
kick, I kick so hard my foot flies off and hits the guy in the head.
right? Yeah, I do. I I like every workout I do like a 20-minute kickboxing workout, but I don't kick super. I limit my super hard kicking, except for straight kicks. I'm not bad. I
Oh
can
yeah.
do, but it's the hook kicks or the round kicks.
Do you
Yeah.
still have that super flexibility in that hip for that?
It feels great since I've been doing the gray steel, dude. I'm
Okay, because
serious.
I
It's
still
great.
remember way back when
Yeah.
you were not exactly the
The height of flexibility.
the Joe
No,
Weider of kicking.
yeah. Well, I was kind of like a Dutch kickboxer, boxing and low kicks.
Yeah,
That was my
Yeah,
thing,
that's right.
And I'm short, so I really throwing long kick, high kicks was kind of a waste of time anyways, you
well,
know.
for flexibility is good, but as far
Yeah,
as
no, fuck, I agree. I agree.
combatively, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
good. But yeah, I mean that's it's good news, and it really is
It's a
good to
light on.
hear. I mean, I do the studying and stuff, but just to hear the stories of healing and all that, because um, I've been in I was in a bit of a rut for a while, and I'm still, I still have pain that keeps me awake, at night and stuff
Uh,
like that, my back and
that,
my hip and everything. But
yep.
that's the thing, is that people that are listening, they should realize that you can heal. You don't need to give up. It doesn't happen instantaneously always. It doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
So, but and sometimes it hurts worse to go through the training.
Dude, yeah, I worked for when I hurt my back, I was hobbling and I went to work for like 3 or 4 months, like in agony. But
Mm.
it's like I had to pay the bills, but I was working on making my back better, and it did get better. But I had
Yeah,
to suffer for a while,
that's right.
It's and so yeah, there's light at the like you're saying, and it's tough for sedentary people to have that mindset. But
Yes.
I've always worked through pain, and so it was just another episode of something I had to work through. But if you don't have that experience, maybe we can tell somebody, look, you might have to suck it up for a while, but it will get better,
Mhm. It's
Don't go, yeah, go
something
ahead.
about the sedentary mindset and lifestyle too. This is something I was going to mention earlier, and it just popped back into my head. Is that I think that there's a lot of studies that show how important it is to, like, not have too much screen time, phones and this and that, but especially with children as they're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunately for me, and I told my kids, I said, look, I would have done things differently had I known, but
Yeah,
because I knew the future was computers, the first thing I wanted to do is get them little games, and they were learning
sure.
games, but I wanted to
Mm.
get
Yeah.
them on the computer and get them really comfortable. And we didn't overdo it, but it's like the mindset of people, like I said, when you and I, and back in the day, and how we would read Bruce's notes and get the newest book, and John Little was writing something, and
Hmm.
and whatever we had,
Try it out and
yeah, trying out writing our own little notes and things, and just but when you have a mindset of I'm gonna do something, then I'm gonna go back to my phone again and look at what's happening on Instagram,
oh,
and I'm going to do this, and let's go back to the, what's on now, and people, I
Mm.
mean, I'm at the gym, and I'm like, and sometimes it gets busy. People are sitting on a machine for 30
looking at their
minutes.
phone.
They're looking at their freaking phone. I'm a little nosy, right? And I go over there and I look over their shoulder. They're on Instagram, swiping through stupid videos, or they're filming themselves. I'm on a machine.
Oh
Ugh.
my gosh.
I'm doing a
I'm so
video.
glad I have a gym at home. It's
Yeah.
just,
Oh, it's so annoying. And I've even Jenny's like, well, we'll just go use something else. And I'm kind of like, I went up to the people. I said, is there an etiquette at all to your gym? I mean, you should post signs, because people
yeah.
start putting their bottles on like 15 different. There's a piece of clothes on this one, a water bottle on that one. And the guy had 5 different machines saved for himself.
Oh
So
no. Oh
nobody
no.
could use, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'd end up getting into a shouting match with somebody if I
I
was
was ready to
there.
kick his crap off the machine. It's like, no, you're not here. You're over there. But anyway, yeah, but yeah, that's the thing I'm seeing a lot with some of the students, and the people that I interact with, the younger people. Thankfully, my son really loves to read, so and he will limit his own screen time and stuff like that. He'll say, I've already watched too much TV, and he'll go in his room and start reading
Well,
or studying.
look at where a lot of the best fighters are coming from now. They're coming from Dagestan, Eastern Europe, places where these people are probably still have tough lives, and then
Yeah,
like our cowboys or ranchers out here in America, and kind of places like that.
yeah,
It's it's ah,
And then when they
God.
start getting rich, sometimes they start disappearing and going downhill too. It's like,
Yeah.
but that's
Yep.
the thing, the attitude of I've done my thing for the day. I've done my gym or I've done my training, and now, it's time to do nothing. There was a video I didn't actually watch it, but it was called The Necessity of Being Bored. And I don't know, and I think that was just a catch title, but the idea I think is that some people, we used to just sit in silence. You go to the
Yeah.
doctor's office and you sit there and you're just thinking,
Yeah. And if there was something to read, maybe you'd
read,
read
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 that.
it.
Yeah. But when's the last time somebody sat and just thought? They're like, no, you gotta
Right. Right.
sit there.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
overstimulating their mind with all that stupid
Yeah.
blue light and
Yeah,
And
no.
for us three, we're also cutting off our connection with God when we're doing that all the time. Because
Yeah,
when we're quiet, that's when he talks to us.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a still small voice. It's not
Yeah.
shouting. And but yeah, even for me, I have to remind myself, because that was I hate standing in lines. I hate waiting. So that was my thing, go to the DMV, and I started realizing, oh, I could play games. This is when the smartphones first came out.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say I'm much better now. But at least I'm conscious of it, and the problem is too that it's also a tool for work. And I have
Right.
5 different ways people can message me on my phone.
Oh gosh.
And so we have a WhatsApp group for JKD Wednesday night group instructors,
Yep.
and we'd love to add you. And then I've got Signal, then I've got regular messaging, then I've got Facebook messaging,
Gosh.
and
Yeah.
and some of the people, of course, are in Europe, so they're messaging, responding to my message in the middle of the night. I have to turn my ring
No.
off, but then at the same time,
No.
what if work calls? I
Oh my
started finding
gosh.
my
Yeah.
stress level going up just because I'm constantly hearing ding, ding.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have to get to a point where we just shut all the stuff off and say,
yeah,
look, for
yeah,
10 hours, it's gonna be off. That's it.
yeah. My phone is always on silent.
There you go.
Nice.
So
That's
Yeah.
why.
yes, it is why. And if
But
I don't get back to you right away, it's because I'm not looking at my phone.
I have found one exception to this rule, though, to cutting off and watching too much, and that would be our podcast. You can never watch too much of this or listen to too much of this podcast.
Yeah, you should watch it at least 3 times in a row every time you watch one.
Exactly. How are you going
Because
to
you'll catch
remember
something
everything
you
we said?
didn't hear before.
How are you going to remember everything we said? But oh man,
Speaking of JKD, since you guys still train students, I'd like to throw this out to you because I don't have anybody except for my son when he's home from college that I can work this with. But I call it uh, ABA, always be angling. And I know Dennis's self-defense system, he's always angling, but I've been working this for the last few years. So, like for instance, instead of penduluming straight